Eyes on me. Focus on me.
Power levels are dropping. We either do this now, or we lose the project.
Rogers, get in there!
He caught!
After watching Peggy Carter's team in What If Season 3, it's pretty clear that the Captain Britain Corps might be making their way into the MCU, possibly in Avengers Doomsday. With so many teams lining up, like the Young Avengers gearing up for their debut, it makes sense. Plus, Captain Carter is leading a new squad of multiversal protectors, including Kahori, Birdie, and Storm. Sure, Peggy's technically dead, but hey, it's the multiverse. Anything goes. We've already seen one multiversal protector team get absolutely wrecked by Wanda Maximoff, so the MCU could definitely use a strong replacement. The team from What If Season 3, led by the Watcher, felt like the perfect setup for this kind of group. And let's not forget the Captain Britain Corps. They're a huge multiverse team in Marvel Comics, and the MCU has already dropped hints about them. Brian Braddock was even teased during Avengers Endgame. So with all that in mind, it feels like the stars are aligning for the Captain Britain Corps to step up and join the MCU. Let's dive into everything we know so far. The MCU bringing in one of Marvel's biggest multiverse teams, led by different versions of Captain Britain, could really tie a lot of things together in the multiverse saga. Since wrapping up the Infinity Saga, Marvel has been diving deep into the multiverse with shows and movies like Loki, Spider-Man No Way Home, and Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. While Phase 6 promises to explore even more multiverse mysteries, there's still one major multiverse team we haven't seen yet. Phase 4 already played around with the multiverse, introducing new takes on familiar heroes. Loki gave us multiple Loki variants, No Way Home brought back Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man, and Multiverse of Madness showed us Earth 838's Illuminati, which was made up of variants from another reality. This multiversal theme is going to be huge for the MCU's future, with rumors of even more teams, like the Council of Reeds, popping up. But one of Marvel Comics' biggest multiverse teams is still missing from the picture. That's where the Captain Britain Corps comes in. They could play a huge role in fighting villains like Doctor Doom in Avengers Doomsday, and there's also a chance we could see the Deadpool Corps team up, especially after the Deadpool and Wolverine movie. Captain Britain first appeared in Marvel Comics back in 1976, but the Captain Britain Corps didn't show up until 1984. Created by Merlyn, his daughter Roma, and Sir James Braddock, the Corps consists of different versions of Captain Britain from across the multiverse. Each Captain Britain gets their powers from a set of exotic particles found at weak points between dimensions, which are centered around the British Isles in each reality. The Captain Britain Corps often works together to protect the multiverse and guard the gateways between dimensions, making them one of the most important multiverse teams. In the 616 universe, 3 characters have taken up the Captain Britain mantle: Brian Braddock, his twin sister Betsy, and Kelsey Lee Kirkland. While these members aren't exactly variants of each other, they'd fit perfectly in the live-action MCU. The MCU may have teased Brian Braddock, aka Captain Britain, in Avengers Endgame. When Steve Rogers and Tony Stark travel back to the S.H.I.E.L.D. Camp Lehigh base in 1970, Steve sees Peggy Carter, who mentions that Braddock hasn't checked in recently. This could hint at Brian Braddock's existence in the MCU, with Peggy potentially referring to him or even his father, Sir James Braddock, a key figure in the Captain Britain Corps. In the comics, Brian becomes Captain Britain after a motorcycle crash, so this line might be a subtle nod to his backstory. Phase 4's What If gave us Peggy Carter as Captain Carter, showing her as a super soldier instead of Steve. Although Peggy was British, she wasn't called Captain Britain, leaving the door open for Brian Braddock to make his debut in the MCU's multiverse saga, especially since his introduction was hinted at in Endgame. Another interesting question is how the Captain Britain Corps could set up the MCU's X-Men. While Brian Braddock was the original Captain Britain, his twin sister Betsy Braddock briefly took up the mantle after Brian's defeat by an alternate Captain Britain. Betsy's time as Captain Britain was short, and she was blinded in battle, but she's a mutant with telepathy and the ability to create psychic weapons, making her a perfect fit for the X-Men. Betsy later becomes Psylocke, a character previously portrayed in Fox's X-Men films by Mei-Ling Melanson and Olivia Munn. Introducing Psylocke into the MCU alongside Captain Britain would not only honor her comics legacy, but could also serve as a great way to set up the Captain Britain Corps for the multiverse saga. This would give Betsy a chance to be done justice, as previous portrayals in the Fox X-Men films received mixed reviews. One interesting aspect the MCU could explore with Captain Britain is his own superhero academy, Braddock Academy. After his family lost their wealth, Captain Britain turned Braddock Manor, their once grand estate, into a training ground for the brightest young superheroes in Britain. Instead of letting the mansion fall into disrepair or becoming a tourist attraction, Braddock Academy becomes a place to mold the next generation of British heroes. Similar to the Xavier Institute for Gifted Youngsters or the Avengers Initiative, Braddock Academy serves as a space where young superheroes can hone their powers and learn to work together. While the MCU has explored various hero training programs, Braddock Academy could bring a fresh angle, focusing on British heroes. However, not everything at the Academy runs smoothly. In the comics, students have been kidnapped by villains and forced to participate in a deadly contest called Murder World. This darker twist could add some serious stakes to the school setting, showing that even when training young heroes, danger is never far behind. Having said that, here's something that might seem a bit random, but it's worth mentioning. Captain Britain was once SpiderMan's roommate. I'm not sure if the MCU would want to show that part, but either way, I'm okay with it. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Now, let's get back to the topic. When Captain Britain first debuted, Spider-Man was one of the most popular Marvel characters. So, it made sense for Marvel UK to create a comic series that brought the two together. In this story, Brian Braddock leaves the UK to study at Empire State University in New York, and by some crazy coincidence, he ends up as Peter Parker's roommate. At first, they clash a bit, both as superheroes and in their everyday lives, but eventually they start getting along and teaming up to fight crime. While training together as heroes, Peter quickly figures out Captain Britain's secret identity. After all, how many tall, muscular, blonde British guys could be wandering around New York? But Brian, for some reason, can't see through Spider-Man's mask. Over time, their friendship gets a bit strained, especially since Brian leans into the classic British stereotype of drinking and getting into fights. To wrap things up, Captain Britain's connection with Megan Pusiano is one of the most significant relationships in his story. Megan is a shapeshifter, and her appearance usually reflects how others see her. Growing up as a Romany in Britain, she would sometimes transform into a creature like a werewolf, complete with fur and even bat wings, because that's how people saw her. But over time, influenced by Captain Britain and wanting to make him happy, Megan shifts into a tall, beautiful blonde, which leads to Brian Braddock falling in love with her, and they eventually marry. However, even then, she's still shaping herself to meet others' expectations rather than embracing her true self. It isn't until Megan makes a huge sacrifice to save her friends, resulting in her being sent to hell, that she gets the chance to reflect on her identity. When she returns, she's more confident and self-assured, and this growth makes her an even stronger hero. All of this is crucial for the MCU as it opens the door to deeper character development and unique storytelling. Introducing Captain Britain and his relationship with Megan offers an opportunity to explore themes of identity, self-discovery, and the consequences of trying to please others, which can resonate with many viewers. Megan's transformation into a confident hero can mirror the MCU's ongoing theme of growth and redemption. Additionally, Captain Britain's ties to the multiverse and his role in defending it can create exciting connections with other MCU storylines, setting the stage for powerful team-ups and personal arcs in future phases. And that's that for today's video, folks. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.